I want to welcome everybody back to another episode of The Soul Inspired. Today we have returning champion, my good friend Derek Martin, with us. I've had Derek on twice on The Soul Inspired, and he is coming in from his own place tonight with a nice Santa Claus hat on. So nice to see you, Derek.
You too, man. Am I your first three-peat?
You're my first three-peat. Absolutely. I do have a
Nice.
few people who are wanting to come back as repeats, and I actually am going to be reaching out to those people very soon. But as we were talking before you came on, we were talking a lot about the lights in the skies that are going on currently, and we are
Yeah.
on December the 12th right now. So, you're somebody who's always been big into paranormal. You and I connected over spirituality, paranormal stuff, UFOs, uh, you Sasquatch. If for anybody who's checked out any of Derek's recent, videos I've done, you've brought up Sasquatch conversations and Bigfoot, and I've had other guests that have brought up Bigfoot, and they have a different perspective, I want to say, on Bigfoot that I didn't even really get probably from you because we're such good friends, because these individuals would bring it up more as a from a spiritual, uh,
hmm
you know, different dimensional, almost angelic realm that people have said like these are
Oh,
coming
I'm
from a
right
different
there.
realm.
I,
Okay, I know, but I
I'm
don't
totally
think
with that.
I
But
don't think you and I have ever actually like talked about it like that. We're like, yeah, Bigfoot.
no,
And you imagine the guy
no.
walking, like that's where I go with it, and it's fun. It makes it more exciting. But I think there's something more going on with that. And we're going to talk about
Ooh,
Bigfoot,
there's a lot more going on.
and I want to hear more about that. But let's first dive in a little bit as to what we were talking about before we hit record tonight, if that's okay. And that's around these lights that are going on. And I've known,
The drones, Joe. They're not lights, they're
yeah,
drones.
yeah, the drone
Trust the
lights,
government.
the drone lights that are going on, and I've heard of many people who've said they've seen these things not only just in New Jersey but other places around the world, and
hmm
it's kind of picked up steam. So I wanted to get a little bit of your input on what do you think these are, and I'm maybe even by the time this episode is released, we'll have an answer as to what they are. But I'd like to know what you think they are and what you're feeling.
Um, I found it very strange that right out the gate, everyone was calling them drones. Because, I mean, right off the bat, first of all, like they're the size of cars or larger, is what most people are saying. I don't know how many people have seen drones the size of cars, but I'll tell you, my sister lives on a farm, and last year and the year before, I think they used a drone to plant all their seeds, which is so cool. But this thing can pick up like humongous bags of seeds. Like it can have a couple, you know, inside it in its carry hold or whatever,
Mhm.
um, that weigh like hundreds of pounds. It's gas powered. It's freaking loud, and it's about the size of two bicycles. Like if you laid two bicycles sideways with the
Mhm.
four wheels, you know, it's not approaching the size of a car, and it is really loud and can carry a lot. So if they're seeing things the size of cars, that's interesting. It's not your normal drone, right? It's not some kid who bought a car-sized drone or four or eight or 32 of them. Or in the case of one sighting I've heard about, there was like 150.
Mm.
If they're the size of a car, they cost about as much as a car. And 150, $30,000 drones is a bit of money.
I kind of
So,
like how you've taken the perspective of thinking about it that way, because I don't think a lot of people think that, right? They're not thinking about the actual cost that would be involved. You see something strange in the sky or you see a drone, and our first thought is, oh, there's got to be a logical explanation, and this is what they are. And the first question when everybody was asking are the airplanes, and the answer that we're getting, at least that I'm hearing, and I mean I could be totally wrong, but
yep.
is that they aren't. So that's because I mean, that's just what I'm hearing. Have you heard any
Well, they can
different?
hover in one spot. I heard a report where there was a bunch of them and they hovered in one spot for over 2 hours.
Hmm.
So a couple things about that. It would have to be a helicopter, not an airplane, which limits the speed it can take off at, like go away at, right? Helicopters have to kind of slowly pick up speed. They can't just go boom. Um, and the second thing, if it's a helicopter, um, or sorry,
If it's an airplane.
yeah, no, well, I was going to say if it's a drone,
Hmm.
um, the normal flight time for a drone is like 15 to 25 minutes, and then the batteries are dead. If it's a bigger gas-powered drone, it's still under an hour before it's got to refuel. So if they're hanging out there
Right.
for 2, 3 hours in the sky, that's a lot of gasoline they've got to hold, or they've got to have a huge honking battery, which
Yeah.
is also very heavy.
And just so we know what we're talking about here, and again, this is footage from another channel. Um, and I won't play the sound, but this this is what we're seeing now. Is that an airplane? It looks like an airplane. Again, that's one image, right? Some of these
Hmm.
images that are coming out look different than other images, but this one, what I found interesting, these multicolored lights, unless it's a Christmas plane, I don't know, the way
Yeah.
you see red and green. Is this the one that you've seen?
Um, no, I've seen some other ones that are very similar to that. Not
Okay.
necessarily plane shaped, but with similar lights. But the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, and the equivalent in Canada,
Mhm.
they require you to have certain kinds of lights that are certain colors. You can't just change them because it's Christmas.
Mhm.
Like you'll get in jail for that, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And those are not standard colored lights, as far as I know. Also, people have seen them. Um, well, sorry, they've seen UFOs or UAPs change shape mid-flight. So they've seen them go from like, a long cigar to a cube to a circle to a jellyfish thing. Like they could pretty much take whatever form they want, and if they want to look like a plane, they could look like a plane.
Right.
And sometimes they have.
Have
Um,
they reported that there's colors in all of these? Just because I asked that because I looked at this other view that
not all of them.
video. Because if you look at this video here, um, this is of
Yes.
another area,
Yep.
and I don't know where, if this was in New Jersey or if this is somewhere else.
And that's like
Um,
the whole sphere is fluctuating colors
right,
rapidly.
right,
But from the ground it looks
and I
mostly
mean,
white.
there's a fleet there.
Yeah, huge.
That is a large fleet of lights that they're trying to say are like those didn't look the same as the first video. So I don't know the first
Nope.
video there was an airplane. I don't know, but there's so many different videos coming out. And this happens, right? Like when you
Hmm.
have confusion in the skies for a good reason, um, and not correct answers, not good answers. Um,
Some of the answers have been so bad. Um,
right.
like one guy in the States who they interviewed on, I think it was ABC, he was like, well, this actually started a couple months ago. Iran sent a mothership to just off the coast of the US, and they've been launching these drones all the time and flying over our secure installations and whatever. And trust me, some very knowledgeable people told me this. And it's like, well, first of all, where did Iran get a humongous ship? Um, and secondly, why were they able to get close enough to the US coastline to be able to launch drones off of it and have it fly over all your secret installations and nuclear bases without you stopping them for several months? That doesn't make any sense.
So
And then
is this a verified story? They verified that that happened, that they
it's
did
just
bring
this
this
guy
over?
they interviewed, but he had some credentials and stuff that made them think he was good to interview. I didn't really pay attention. I was just listening to him going like,
Okay.
that doesn't sound right.
But
And
that hasn't been a storyline that they've stuck with from through
no, that
other.
was one of the
Okay.
first storylines they went
Okay.
with.
Okay.
And then somebody else came on and said, no, that was nonsense. This was a person from the government. And they said, to be perfectly honest, we have no idea what these things are. And we have no idea who made them or whatever. And he was talking about them more like they're UAPs or UFOs. Um, and the problem there is that they've already admitted that they are let's say, certain that UAPs and UFOs are not manufactured by any country on Earth.
Mhm.
So they have a control situation here where, the United States considers its land and its airspace to be sacred, and it's their job to keep it secure. And they cannot catch up to these things. They do their damnedest, but they can't catch them. They can't get close enough to do anything. Oftentimes with UAPs, it seems like they can read the minds of the pilots or the commanders or whatever. Like there was a story with one of the Tic Tac pilots where, they saw this thing flying around, and then they got an order to head to their checkpoint. They already knew what the checkpoint was, so they didn't communicate the checkpoint over the radio, I don't think. So they just turned and headed to their checkpoint, which was like 60 miles away. And when they got there, the same UAP was there waiting for them already.
The one that they had just fled from,
Just,
or
yeah,
left. Right,
as fast
right,
as they
right.
could go, they went to their checkpoint and it was already sitting there.
Now, have they said that this has happened with these new? See, this is where I kind of jump in and I
Hmm.
say, okay, so this is one big difference, and I'm interested. Maybe this story will transpire to be something that we know more of soon, right? But right now, as of December the 12th, there hasn't been any real answers yet. And even
No.
the people in the New Jersey, I don't know if there's New Jersey state governor or whoever, not governor,
Yep.
whoever's in charge of everything has said that it's frustrating. They don't know what these
Yes.
things are. So
They're starting to admit they don't know.
yeah, as we state right now, we don't. Now, in the future, maybe we'll know. But what I will say that's throwing me for a big curve on this and a big loop is that, I've been following UFOs, UAPs, whatever, since I was a kid. I was interested since
Yep.
Independence Day came out.
Hmm.
I've been interested in all this stuff, and I've been watching videos since YouTube first emerged with people taking really blobby, blurry videos of UAPs,
Yeah.
UFOs, as we used to call them, and they always had kind of a, not all of them, that many of them have a similar vibe where they're moving and it's just like a light and then it disappears and that kind of thing. And I've seen that in some of these videos coming out. But what I find fascinating about these particular ones, number one, they have the same kind of like flashing lights the way we would see on one of our airplanes,
Hmm.
which
Some of them
so as
do.
soon
Yeah.
as yeah, so as soon as I see that, I go, oh, that's an airplane. So that's one thing. Now, again, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. That's one thing. The other thing
Yep.
is these are fairly clear pictures. These
Yeah.
videos seem clearer than what we've seen in the past with UAPs. So when I put those two feelings together, I think airplane, it's something human made because everything that hasn't been at this point in my existence of watching videos of UAPs, UFOs, and all this, from at least from what we've seen that we've been able to see,
Hmm.
have been fairly fuzzy. Nothing's
Yep.
been clear. But because this is happening all at once in different locations and everyone's got their phones out,
Everybody's getting video of it. Yeah.
we're seeing this. So one of two things are happening. One, this is human made. This is something from a different country or the same countries. Who knows? I don't know. We're all
Could be
guessing.
secret US
Could
tech,
be anything. Or two, this is,
a natural phenomena,
well, no, I
swamp
wouldn't even
gas.
say it's a natural phenomenon because it's they
Seems
resemble
technological, but yeah.
what we would say as drones. That's why they've called it drones right away. I really like how you start
Yeah.
with that. But they're clear images, and I feel like here's the weird part, you know, they're really fixated on this one incident, but if you do a simple YouTube search, I keep seeing more videos coming up. Like I was checking this out earlier and I was looking at different videos.
Yeah.
So is it continuing?
Yeah, it's still going on. I
And
saw some
so
posts by people just today who saw them yet last night. Yeah.
you first heard that someone said that they believed it was this kind of like, military type
They were trying to
phenomenon.
put it off to being a military operation by a foreign country. Yeah.
Mhm. Here's an odd video I seen as well. This one's a little clearer, and it's this to me looks like an airplane. I don't know if this is related, but here's the odd part. It also has that same color, the
Hmm.
color that it was that green, and I think it was green and red. So here, I'll bring this one up here. This one here. Have you seen this one?
Hmm.
Now that's low.
That's pretty big.
That's
Yeah.
big. I mean, the weird part is, even if someone says that this is a created, maybe it's a man-made video, I don't know, but isn't it odd that the red and green lights there?
Yeah, and to me, like you can kind of see that that is one unit um that's moving. It's not like a bunch of lights that are flying
Hmm.
in synchrony.
And so, like that one, I was like, okay, well, that looks like an airplane, but
Hmm.
it doesn't either. Like, it's not clear enough for me to be like, oh yeah, I see the airplane.
Yeah.
And then the other question is, have you seen any videos of these in the daytime?
I haven't seen any in the daytime. Um, but I'll tell you what else I haven't seen. And this is the main thing so far that has led me to think that these are actually UAPs and not drones. I haven't even seen anyone talk about this. Okay. In any of the videos I've seen, none of the drones are making noise. I
Hmm.
don't know if you've been around even a kid's drone. Those things are freaking loud and annoying.
Hmm.
You know, the big industrial drones are even louder.
Now, have
Like,
you listened to these videos that are coming out? Like, have you verified that? Like, I haven't. I can't say that that's the case, so I
I've
don't
watched a
know.
bunch of them, but I
Mhm.
haven't, in none of them did I hear anything like a helicopter or
Yeah.
anything like that or a drone. They're just the only thing you hear really is people going, "Whoa, what's that? What's that?" Right?
Right.
But you're not hearing anything from the sky. Drones are super, super loud. I
Hmm.
haven't heard anyone say, "Oh yeah, they're drones, but why are they silent?" Like we live under a flight path between a couple airports and the major hospital center here, and we have like the rescue airlift helicopters fly over our place all the time. You can hear those things way before you can see them, and that's one helicopter, right?
Hmm.
So if this is a helicopter or a plane, you should hear it, and you should hear it on the video.
Right.
If it's drones, you should hear them. You should hear them on the video,
Yeah.
especially if they're flying low, or especially if there's a cluster of like 100 of them, like that one video you showed.
Right.
I'm not hearing anything in these.
Hmm.
Like,
Well,
and traditionally UAPs have been silent, you know, because I think now I heard that the US does have a stealth helicopter that's super quiet. But they're brand new, and I don't think they have fleets of them flying around the country to just essentially put on a light show. Um, I heard someone say that they think that those groups of them are out looking for something, scanning different areas to try and find it. Like, and that's why they're sending a bunch of them there to just cover the area faster. I don't know if they're repeat covering certain areas, doing the same place several times. Um, but yeah, it just has me thinking that I personally think they are UAPs. I think there's so many of them right now in so many locations that the government can't just say, "Oh, it's an airplane," or they can't just write it off because there's way too many videos being taken. And as you
yeah.
said, some of them are very clear. Um, and at the same time that this is going on, the UFO world has kind of been buzzing about lots of people having dreams or having um, channeling sessions or having encounters with ETs where what they're being told is, we're going to reveal ourselves to you soon.
Okay. So this is maybe where we lose some of the audience.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I'm
Right.
just
But
saying,
no, I get
I
it.
don't know for anything for sure, right?
Absolutely.
But,
Where are you hearing that? Are you hearing that amongst the
well, I told you about Bashar last time we were chatting.